What's going on, world? I am Kent, aka Kent King.
And I am Bria, aka Bree Woo, and this is the Business of Love podcast.
And we are two entrepreneurs navigating the spaces between both big business and blissful relationships.
And together we're a new developing couple, figuring out both life and love simultaneously.
Join us every single week for topics ranging from exes to employees and everything in between.
It's the Business of Love.
And it starts right now. Here, this is the Business of Love.
Yes.
Episode 2.
Dos.
Technically, because the first episode is kind of recorded, but, well, the audio's there.
Okay.
But the visual is elsewhere.
Okay.
So
we still got something to work with, though.
Right. That's why you my partner, because you always gonna make the best of it, baby.
Yes.
So we are here, and as always, the Business of Love, we are going to talk about things that pertain to both relationships and entrepreneurship,
Yes.
because we do feel like love is a business, and we are two people in love and two business owners. So we feel like that's the best thing that we can talk about, because that's really all we know.
Right.
So today's episode is sponsored by, what's the name of these?
Bougie Booze.
Bougie Booze. This is, so if we start slurring, blame it
Blame it
on
on
them.
him. They're really tasty, though.
Shouts out to Bougie Booze.
It has real fruit in it.
Bougie Booze.
Yes.
Okay. Got it. Like it. Love it. So back to the Business of Love. Everybody back outside.
Yes.
Outside is open. And with outside being open, I think it's important that you be aware of outsiders.
Yes.
Right? With outside being open, you got to be really aware of outsiders.
Yes.
And so today's topic is about that, outsiders, because that applies to both relationships and business.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to stress the ers, right? I'm going to just be like outsiders.
That's why I'm laughing. I'm like, you're real heavy on the
Yeah, because that's what they are, outsiders. Like, that's how you got to talk to them, because oftentimes they will come inside and they never been invited.
How you gonna hate from outside the club?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you never even been invited in here, and you over here causing static, drama, issues, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, come on, you're outsider, so stay over there. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, outsiders, man. So we gonna take a little trip down memory lane.
Okay.
We gonna go back to like a couple days ago.
Yeah.
So a couple days ago, we was beefing. Right, we had a little tit tat, go on and scratch your neck, yeah, because I'm gonna tell the story like it is. I'm gonna keep it all the way raw, funky, and G. Ready?
Yes.
Here we go. So, Bria has a thing where she loves to ask me questions, partly because she's nosy, but
and because I would do that for a living. Don't forget that.
But partly because she's also inquisitive. And she actually does like to gather information in order to formulate both her opinion and her perspective. And so I very much respect her for that. I love and appreciate her for that. But at times, that opinion and perspective can become jaded towards me and make me feel judged. And that's just what happened. She asked me a question about a woman of my past, and she asked about some of our dealings and whatnot. And so me as a man, now, fellas, I know y'all looking at me like, so why the hell did you answer? You know what? I'm trying this relationship, right? I'm trying to do this thing that most men don't do, which is where you give raw honesty, right?
Transparency.
No. Let me break this down. Raw honesty is very different from transparency.
Okay.
Transparency is basically just saying, like, I don't hide anything from you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's transparency. But raw honesty is basically being like, yup, that was me with the homies, and we robbed that bank. What you gonna do? Like, it's the delivery, and you understand what I'm saying? Because when I say raw honesty, most men will understand that, because that's how we communicate to each other. There is no fluff, no filter, no barrier there for emotions. Right. And so I'm trying this thing where I'm giving my girl, my significant other, the truth as she asks for it. Right. Without the fluff, because me personally, and this is a personal thing, I feel like the fluff is a lie. Like, to me, whenever I feel like I'm adding fluff on it, I'm not being my true, honest self. And I feel like I am compromising a part of myself by not being able to do that. Yep. Now, compromise is a thing in a relationship. So it's like, okay, cool. I have no problem with compromise. But when you ask me for the question, you didn't ask me for it with compromise. You asked me for it just as raw, so I'm going to give it to you just as raw, right? Because the question, not for nothing, because we're in a relationship, it's not invasive, but it is personal, right? That is a little bit of, it was a deeper question about some of the things, and I did my best to give her the answer that she was not looking for, nor did she want, but it was the one that she got. And later on, and I ain't gonna style. I'm gonna be very honest with everybody, especially you. Okay, because at this moment, when she asked me this question, I gave her the answer, and then I replied something else after. Do you remember what I said?
Save it for the podcast.
No. When you first asked me, you said,
you said don't ask something that you don't want the answer to.
This is the part where I'm gonna zoom in on me.
Yes, I do remember that part clearly.
Don't ask a question you don't want the answer to. No, and I truly feel like that, right? And I said that because I knew that this was going to come up to bite me in the behind later on. I felt it. In my soul. I was like, this is going to be one of them things that she going to mention later on, and I'm a just be like, yo, why would you even ask that if you was going to hold it against me? So, what y'all think she did? Huh? What'd you say? Huh? Yeah, she brought it up and held it against me. I heard y'all. And she did it in a way in which women love to do this thing where it's not, they hypothesize. I'm going to just make up a word because they be making shit up. So I'm going to make up a word for the shit that they be making up. Yes, it's when they actually make up scenarios that don't exist and then create a problem for you. For example, my girlfriend says, you know, if you ever become single again, God forbid, but if you ever become single again,
this is something you should do.
I want you to move like this and consider this. And I laughed because I'm like, first off, why are you plotting on me being single? Weirdo. Second of all, but I know this is one of them things. Whatever. Second of all, if I become single, you and your opinion is the last person I'm listening to. Like, if I don't even want to hear you breathe if I become single. I don't even want to hear nothing. No, don't even in my direction.
No input, no nothing.
Don't even in my direction.
Hey.
Not a blink of air from your existence better come towards me if I become single.
Okay.
You go that way, I go this way. We live on two separate planets.
The good news is you won't be single.
Okay,
that
exactly.
was just a hypothetical example.
So why was we arguing about him?
But yes, I get it. But go ahead, continue.
That was pretty much my story. I was venting.
As it relates to outsiders.
Oh, sorry. I forgot I had to tie this in. So yeah, so anyway, so
he just was venting just now.
So, I had to get it on my chest. This is therapy for us. So she asked the question, and I chuckled, and I gave my response, which was that I don't agree with that. And she said her normal, why? And I told her multiple reasons. And I don't think she liked or agreed with any of the answers. You can tell by her face right here. This is the part where I'm going to be zooming in on you. And for me, right, I started to get frustrated because multiple reasons. Number one, here we are again. Should I go there, or should we talk about? Should I talk about my frustrations, or should we go back to the other scenario first?
What other scenario?
Your side.
Okay, so this is what I'll do. we'll pause on that part with you.
Okay.
But we'll tie it into how.
Did I finish it all?
Yeah.
That was pretty much it. I said my piece in the car. We kind of got into it.
Yeah, we got into it in the car. We were upset, and then it was a weird energy from that night going into the next day.
Mm-hmm.
But that pretty much.
I left my cell phone at home the next morning.
Yeah, that's how you know you had something on your mind.
Yo, we got up the next morning. I was still so frustrated from this conversation that we had the night before. I left my cell phone at the house. We drove all the way to the gym. Now, I ain't gonna style. Probably like halfway, maybe like a quarter way, I realized I left it.
You did the ping thing.
You be seeing me. You gotta stop watching me. So, so I knew I had left my watch. And so I'm like, I'm not talking to her though. Like, we not talking.
Right.
So I words are scarce. So it's like, that phone gonna have to do what that phone do without me doing something. I don't know what it's gonna be doing.
He is so stubborn.
But I'm not talking.
He let us go all the way to the gym when he knew halfway that the phone was at the house. To be like, oh yeah, my phone at the house.
And I said, you can go to the gym. I'll go back to the house and get my phone.
So stubborn and petty.
But that was how serious the situation had gotten.
Yes.
It had jeopardized my mood, my energy, and my train of thought in the sense that, like, yo, I can't even function properly. I'm forgetting, like, crucial devices that I never forget and, like, am never off of. I'm just turning down the air. It's a little hot in here.
Mm-hmm. No, it's funny because we rarely argue like that. So when we do, the energy is off because we're not used to that. And to be honest, I like that. Like, I don't want arguing to be such a common thing that we know how to
we know how to maneuver through that.
Yeah, like whenever we do get into it, it's definitely a weird energy because it's like, what the hell? But it doesn't last beyond a day.
Right.
I will say that.
And so next day comes around.
Literally.
I've now grabbed my cell phone, thank God, because I have to get a boatload of information. And so the first outsider that was allowed in was someone from my past that had nothing to do with us. The next outsider that was allowed in was someone from your past.
Right.
That had nothing to do with us.
Right.
But I'll let you go ahead and tell this part of the story.
So pretty much after we had our little weird energy, whatever, he got his phone, he came back to the house, and I was shocked because he never comes back to the house so early. It was damn near 1:00. He's supposed to be like working, and he came back to the house super early.
And I caught you.
Didn't say.
I caught her too, y'all.
He didn't catch me doing anything.
I caught her. She was in the crib, supposed to be at work. She was wearing her drawers. She was wearing her underwear. I'm like, that is not work attire.
I had my bonnet on, my underwear. I was chilling, but no. He came in. He didn't say hi or anything. He just walked straight in and said, "We got to talk." Because I got a question. And
now it's my turn for questions.
Yeah, no, he basically asked if I had been in touch or spoken to a certain individual from my past because he was given some information. And of course, you know, I told him the truth. Like, no, I did not speak to this person at all since we've been together. And I had to, like, really, I don't want to say prove my case, but I had to provide the receipts. And it made me instantly think about him, like, trying to, you know, protect and justify his character from the other night. And I was like, okay, this does not feel good. I am not going to do this again because these are people from our past that really are irrelevant. Like, why are they being brought up right now? So it kind of, it definitely unified us, but it made me realize that the past is not important, especially when you have someone who is so focused on both of you guys' future. That really solidified a few things for me. So I can honestly say these last 2 days have been informative, very eye-opening, and just made me overall appreciative of the man that I have, honestly.
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, I hear that. So, but, and as much as I do appreciate that, let's go back so we can add some more value to this situation and scenario,
definitely.
right? Because we were able to get this off our chest and, you know, for us to be able to build from it, but to correlate it and to tie it to something for everybody, just to go back and to go through some of the mix of emotions that oftentimes men are subjugated to because we feel like we do have to justify something from our past or something that, you may not be as comfortable with, and we can't necessarily formulate why it has no bearing to us. And oftentimes, right, we have to hold the burden of something that though it was in our previous responsibility, we are no longer responsible for. And it's very important that as outside opens back up, you keep outside and don't bring none of that inside. Because at that moment when I felt like I had to, I guess, kind of justify my reasoning, right, for why I wanted to be, I felt like you were challenging part of me as a man, almost saying like the decisions that you made in your past aren't sufficient for who I want you to be. And that struck a nerve, right? It struck a nerve for me that was like, wait a minute, I done got here and I done did all this and I'm this guy and you love me now. So you have to take me, not flaws and all, but like you have to consider that my past has helped make me, right? Some of these decisions from some of these women that I may have dealt with are the reason why I treat you the way that I treat you. It's because I've been in a situation and scenario where I was like, she won't properly value me. So when I find a woman who actually values the actual type of man that I am, I'm going to make sure that I cater to her in this way, that way. I'm going to make sure I speak her love language. There's certain things that I've been able to overcome because of bad decisions that I've made in my past. And they've helped me make me who I am today. And you can't love me if you don't appreciate the decisions that I've come through. And vice versa on your end. And let me just give y'all a little, like, I ain't gonna style right now. Now check the timeline, okay? Right? Check the timeline. Me and her beefing. Left my cell phone. Get my cell phone. Get the information. Go to the crib.
That's all like, what, 4 or 5 hours?
Less than that, probably.
Yeah.
Now, here's the full disclosure. On a normal, right, scenario, I probably would have called you. I probably would have said, yo, I don't know what the hell's going on, but like, let's talk about this. I wouldn't have rushed home, right? Because at the moment, I ain't gonna style my license just a little suspended. It's on
just a tad.
It's on detention. You know what I'm saying? It's not suspended from. It's suspended. Never mind. So I ain't had no business driving, right? I damn sure ain't had no business driving, but I had to get up there because I had to clear this air. Now, to my defense, I didn't come in hostile. I didn't come in kicking the door down. I didn't come in accusing of anything. I came in with a question wholeheartedly, and we had a very brief discussion, and I was pretty much back out the door. The discussion lasted less than the drive to get there, probably.
Yeah, it probably was like 7 minutes.
Yeah, we had the discussion. We cleared the air. We got it all out the way. But I did come in emotionally. I was bringing a lot, and also I wasn't giving you the full trust that you deserve. Because there's never been a scenario in which this has happened before. There's never been a scenario in which you've even given me an inkling to believe that that's a part of your character or nature. Ever, period. But remember the timeline, y'all. She pissed me off, okay? Now remember this whole thing, right? I was hurt. Left my phone. That's a big deal because that's how hurt I was. Got my phone, got the news. So when I came to you, I wasn't in our proper state of energy. Our relationship wasn't in as much of a bond as it was after. Because afterwards, all we could do was laugh and talk about it. And that's typically what should happen, right? Is when you do have outsiders, that's supposed to create a common enemy. Literally. And then you two can become closer. So for that, right, we have apologized to each other, and we have since grown, moved on, decided to make new decisions about things. And I think that this was an extremely healthy situation because of how we made it out. However, in business, it's not always the same.
No.
And so I want to kind of tie this into the entrepreneurship role of outsiders. And so I want to ask you, or kind of give you a chance to maybe vent about how people lately have been trying to give you their opinion of your product or lack thereof, and ain't nothing up there for me, so I can't.
That's exactly where I knew we was going with that. To be very honest with you, I think this whole theme of outsiders is very relevant as it relates to business, because when you create something and you put your all into it and you're like, oh my God, I love this, I know everybody's gonna love this too. It's just funny how the first people to critique it or have an opinion on it are usually family and friends. And that's exactly what has happened recently with my second business, Spicy Eyewear. I've had a lot of like cousins and
Plug the business,
aunties.
baby. Plug the business.
Yes, at Spicy Eyewear. A lot of cousins, aunties, whoever, they've made comments like, "Oh, well, this style just isn't for me. These shades are a bit too big for my head," and things like that.
So it's family.
It's family.
So basically, what you're saying is sometimes the outsiders could be insiders.
Yeah. And that's the thing that people don't want to really accept, but that's what it is.
I think that typically, usually the outsiders are insiders. And when I say that, shouts out to Bougie Booze. Yeah, I got me burping, bougie burps. Pardon me. But when I say that the outsiders are typically insiders, I mean that usually your closest friends or close circle or family or whoever is not always, they're never going to see your vision.
Yep.
Because they see you from their jaded lens and perspective. They've seen you go through too many failures, and it's simple failures. You started, your aunt saw you the first time you tried to walk, and then you failed. Your aunt saw you the first time you tried to ride a bike, and you failed.
Yeah.
Right? Like, these people have seen us go through these trials, and they don't hold on to the triumphs and tribulations like we do.
Right.
They remember the trials.
Yeah.
So for them, oftentimes, trying to be on the inside feels awkward. They know that they're an outsider, but they should have been inside, but they don't know how they not inside because we family. So I should be the one helping you design your shades.
Right.
You should have a pair of shades named after me.
Set aside just for me. Why am I paying? Like, that really be the energy.
You know, the crazy thing is, right, I remember when I was launching Lev Lux, and I had the first prototype wallet, and I went to my business partner's birthday, and there was a mutual friend of ours, was somebody there, one of the homies, and he said, "Yo, them joints hot, hold one for me," and I was like, "Bro, I'm not holding anything. As soon as they launch, I'm gonna send you the link. Grab yours."
Yep.
He said, "What you mean you ain't holding nothing for me?" Literally, he got upset, belligerent. Still has not bought one to this day because I said I wouldn't hold one for him. And again, the outsiders' desire to be inside will oftentimes cause them to find their own reasons not to support.
100%. And then you find the most support, in this case, it would be from the quote unquote outsiders, like the people who you don't know from a can of paint, who genuinely just want to support a brand like yours. And I'm like, oh my God, like, this is crazy. You would never think that you're touching so many people that you don't even know.
Yes.
And in this case, the outsiders are the ones who essentially become like the inside and the tribe, so to speak.
Go on, you better talk on it now.
Right.
You better talk on
Tribe
it.
talk.
Tribe talk now. Hold up. I might have to charge you for that. That's a hashtag I own. You know what I'm saying? You inside the tribe, but you know.
It's trademark.
But I do want to ask you this question, right? How do you, outside of this situation and scenario, right? How do you, what advice do you have? How do you suggest that people maneuver in relationships through the outside noise? And I'm asking you this because you and I are about to move in together. Officially.
Yes.
Right? We're about to grab our new apartment and we're going to do some amazing things. Yes, we're about to do a lot of amazing things together. And fortunately for us, everybody outside, outside of us, immediately outside of us, our family and whatnot, they're on board. They're happy for it. They're with it. They love it. They want it. But you have a close friend who's about to go through the same thing, and not everybody in their circle is as supportive.
Yep.
So I know for you that this situation kind of touches home a little bit differently because of that. And I kind of just wanted to ask you, because I wasn't privy to all the knowledge and information that you've been giving her. So what have you been saying to her about outsiders who maybe don't support what it is, the actual decision that you're making?
The number one thing I would say, because sometimes I have to tell myself this, is that this is your life. I've seen so many like documentaries and things about people who are like on their deathbed and their last words or words of advice is like, live your life. Don't live your life according to what other people want you to do, because you will never be happy. Like, who wants to be on their deathbed saying, damn, I wish I would have did this, or I wish I would have moved in with my spouse, as opposed to, listening to my parents or the people, the naysayers who always had something negative to say. So yeah, do you. And who cares what outside people think?
Yeah, but you know what the thing is, though, and I understand that and I respect that and I love that, but it's not always that easy.
It's not.
Sometimes you want that support. Sometimes you feel like you even need that support, but most of the time it's a yearning or a crave for that support. And so the one thing that I will say is my superpower has been that when those moments happen, I realize and remember that no matter what, even if you were twin, right, you were born as an individual. You were born yourself. So for me, those moments become moments to double down on who I am and who I truly want to be and see myself as. Because I feel like we don't oftentimes understand that those are moments of freedom.
Yep.
When someone else isn't necessarily in your corner, that gives you the ability to fight your own fight. There's no coach. There's no one telling you, hey, you should throw more jabs, throw a right hook, throw an uppercut. It's you and you. And so I actually relish those moments now. The more times that I have to know that there are people around me who don't necessarily support the idea, the more I know that I'm going to have to only depend on me.
Yep.
And I relish that situation because that gives me the ability to be whatever, whoever, and all the responsibilities on me. Now, I feel like that's the part that most people fear is all the responsibility being on them. But when you have accountability, you don't have a problem with that.
Not only that, but you have a partner. I feel like this is the moment when you have to really like rely on your partner and say, hey, I'm really feeling like nobody is on our side with this. Like, we really are on our own little island and everybody is just a spectator. And I think that's why it's important to have a partner who you can talk to, who really understands your love language, and who also knows when you're just not feeling like yourself. The thing about us is that we do have a lot of supporters and stuff and friends, family, but every now and then we'll have an incident where it's just somebody that's like, I don't know, I feel like just trying to sabotage. Like the other day, the situation where you had to come home and ask questions. I feel like that was one of those random moments of people who's like, damn, they really got they shit going, they happy and they doing stuff. What's a way I can, like, I don't know, maybe trigger
jump
something?
in there.
That's really how I felt.
I feel the same way too in that scenario. And just to double back, right? What when I was talking about doubling down on myself, it's so great that we do this because I was literally speaking about in an entrepreneurial sense, right? I was literally speaking about for business and whatnot. And in a relationship, you're 100% correct. That's when you double down on the relationship itself.
Yeah.
That's when you make sure you do the extra date night. You guys get together and do a freaking podcast because this is therapeutic for us. So we appreciate every last person who's going to watch our therapy session. So, but I think that those moments do often give room for better relationships, either with yourself or either with your significant other. So I do think that is definitely crucial. And I love the fact that you and I can swing tangents from both business and relationships. I think that sometimes when it comes to outsiders viewing your relationship, I think that the number one reason why people may not be on the fan or on the inside necessarily is because of overventing. So we as human beings have a habit of sharing all of the bad and only showing the good, right?
Yep.
Like you can see the good on Instagram, right? Anything that's public that we want you to see. But we all know that anything that we're showing doesn't always have the true emotion, right? The things that make you the most emotional, you're not sharing with everybody else because it's too private for you.
Yep.
And the things that really typically make you the most emotional are the things that hurt in the relationship. Those are the things that you want to share with the people that are closest to you.
Yeah.
Oftentimes that oversharing causes that side or person or people to have a jaded opinion about you and your relationship.
Yep.
Because you have overvented and you haven't expressed any of the good. Right? If you call me every day and you tell me like, yo, this dog keeps pissing on my carpet, eventually I'm gonna tell you to get rid of the dog.
Right.
Right? Like, because something ain't right. Y'all relationship is just not, or the carpet, one or the other. I don't know if you can remove the carpet, but whatever. Like, and I think that that's what happens oftentimes is people continue to call, the same people to say, yo, my dog keeps pissing on the carpet. And eventually that person is going to say, yo, that's a bad dog. I wouldn't want that dog. And I don't want that dog for you.
Right.
I feel bad that I use the term dog.
Because you're a dog dad.
No, because I feel like there's women out there that's gonna be like, y'all dogs pissing on carpets and stuff, and that's not.
Well, we're gonna touch on that in another episode. Language, what we call each other.
Save it for the pod, bro. Save it for the pod.
Yes.
Yes, but I do think that in that scenario, oftentimes people overvent, overshare on just the negatives, and they don't do enough of, this is really why I'm here. This is how I feel. This is how things are going. Because, you never really feel the need to check up or share those things. But I think that it's, because I'm so big on accountability, it's important for us to be accountable in the way in which we can cause someone to be jaded, right? Sometimes the people who we are speaking to, they want to have the best of intentions. They want to see us happy. They want to see us, in relationships and whatnot. But if we continue to only share certain aspects, it's hard for them to have that emotion of like, I'm so happy that you're in this relationship that you keep complaining to me about. Like, that's a very difficult thing to say. So I just feel like we have to be accountable and take a little stance and, and just be really ready to admit how oftentimes we may overvent or overshare. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't vent at all, but just have that perspective of counterbalance, because without the other side, it's hard for the person to root for you in that relationship.
Right. Yes.
Or in that business.
Yes, 100%. It has to be some sort of balance, because we all know a situation where we've been vented to, but we kind of see maybe a day later, 2 days later, everything's all happy, rainbows, and then right back to the same situation. So just make sure you give it all the details.
All the gems, the juices, and all the goods, the bads, the uglies, and all of that stuff.
Everything.
That's how we try to keep it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I can say, I don't really vent too much to friends, because it's like, when it comes to our relationship, because, again, I try not to even argue like that, but when we do, we know that it's something that we're going to talk through or we're going to work through. Yeah.
I think that I have my moments with my homies where we bond. I don't know that it's necessary. Yeah, it's venting. It's definitely venting. But the thing about it is, it is less of a vent and more of an emotional connection that I think that I actually have with my homie. Because even if you and I are good, I will still pick something that you did that was like, she pulled up and didn't park in a damn parking spot and then got mad at me for asking her to park in a parking spot.
That's how you know men be getting old, ladies. They don't be having nothing else to talk about.
No, but that...
Go ahead.
That's a connection for me and my homie to be able to talk about some of the things that y'all women be doing that we just don't understand why y'all do the things that y'all do.
And vice versa.
And this is why we have podcasts.
Yeah, vice versa.
So we can try to figure it out.
But one thing I will say is women, especially right now for me, a lot of me and my girlfriends, we're all going through the same thing. Like, we're all moving in with our men or, starting something with our men, whatever it is. And it's like we talk about that. So we don't even really have time to talk about the arguments or the dumb shit that we be beefing about. We really talk about, oh, can you believe he didn't eat what I cooked, or we looking at this place and about to buy this Airbnb property. Like, that's really how the conversations be right now.
So it's no venting, it's all business on the rise.
Sometimes, for the most part. Like, we know that, and this is no shade to you, but we know men are dumb. Like, we not about to keep talking about the same thing. So zoom in on that part.
We was just having a great podcast. So how you just
That's why I said no shade. As women,
how do you say no shade, but y'all dumb?
Yeah, no shade alleviates all of that. When we say no shade, you can't feel away for what we about to say, because it's not being shady.
You truly don't understand how no shade works. No shade is so basically no shade is just a cover for you to be shady.
Yeah, no shade is a buffer.
But so no shade means that I can't have no emotions about the shade.
Right.
That's what it basically means.
Right.
So it should be saying
means don't take no offense to this.
So basically what you should be saying is no emotions. Right. Because women are evil and they don't want men to actually have emotions, right? We just got to be creatures that are just here. For certain
things. Certain things we really want you to have emotions with. Like, if we're watching a certain movie, I'm going to need you to be sitting right there boo-hooing with me.
Why is that y'all want us to have emotions only when y'all want us to have emotions? Like, as if we have a switch that we could just be like, whoop, no emotions today.
I mean, don't y'all have a switch with post-nut clarity? Oh.
What does that have to do with emotions?
Because the emotions turn off once.
No. The thing with post-nut clarity, and we'll talk about this in another episode, is that perspective changes. And reality starts to kick back in.
Got it.
Yeah. Very big difference between emotions and post-nut clarity.
I'm excited to dig into that.
Yes. But what I was trying to give you a compliment on something, and then you slayed me. So I can't even really remember what it was. Thanks. But yeah. I was going to even segue this back to business and outsiders and insiders, but you just tried to call me dumb. So I'm gonna just sit here and act like I didn't set this whole podcast up or nothing. Like, I don't know. I'm dumb.
No. I'll segue back to the business. I feel like as we, develop in relationships, you just gonna sit there. As we develop in our personal relationship, I feel like we also have seen some growth as far as business goes. I know I come to him for advice when it comes to my businesses, and he gives it to me straight.
And vice versa. I come to you for advice. I come to you for a lot of perspective. I come to you for a lot of insight. I think that is something that we honestly need to thank the outsiders for, because it's made us have tighter bonds, right? The people who we know as outsiders, the people who we see watching us from the outside, those moments always bring us closer together.
Yeah.
So I think that let's go ahead and make a cheers.
Yes.
Cheers to the outsiders who can't get in. You know what I'm saying? Cheers to this one's for y'all. Drink your drink. Drink your drink.
Yes.
Got to drink your boozy.
Whatever y'all have with y'all got to take a sip.
If y'all ain't got no boozy booze, though, y'all not sipping like us. But anyway.
Yes.
So yes, cheers and thank you to the outsiders who have been trying to get in and have been causing us to have better bonds, closer conversations, and topics to present
Yes.
on our podcast.
Because that's the best part, having something to talk about.
100%. Because the business of love is a real deal business.
It is. And shout out to you for changing my whole perspective when it comes to outsiders, because I remember initially just always being annoyed, like, why are people so nosy and all of that? But he made me realize, like, hey, you can turn those views into sales. You can turn those views into, all types of stuff for your business.
You better talk about it.
Make a discount code for lurkers. Like,
you better talk about it.
Yeah, it's really important to have.
Hey, listen, let me just let y'all know something. This is the type of person I am. If I catch you lurking and I know that you're a lurker, I'll take your IG name and make it a discount code. Lurk on that.
Or make it a LLC. He the type the LLC.
Wait, don't tell him about the don't tell him about the whoa.
That's how.
A little too much boozy booze for you. Not everything gets on the podcast.
You said we gonna keep it raw.
Okay, yeah, but they don't need to know everything. Whoa. I didn't do nothing.
He out here making businesses off his haters, child.
I didn't do nothing. And it was a non-profit, by the way.
What he say? You can't be around me if you ain't got no LLC.
Yeah, man, listen.
You got enough to last.
Why would you tell him that?
Hey,
You had nothing to do with this. Anyway, back to the love of business. Yes. I think that you and I are super grateful for the trials and tribulations that we went through this week, because it did cause us to be able to have a greater appreciation for one another.
Booze?
That's the bougie booze. It allowed us to have a much greater appreciation for one another. It also caused us to be able to laugh at some individuals who, thought that they mattered, and
right.
When their existence was, nothing.
Yeah.
And it also gave us a topic to talk about.
Yeah, and I like the fact that we literally, this topic can apply to both relationships and business, and have kind of like two different meanings too. Yes.
Outsiders. Well, welcome back to the outside for everybody. Be careful of the outsiders that's trying to get inside. We are here to let you know that the business of love ain't always beautiful, but we gonna make it do what it do regardless.
Yes, and to wrap it up, do you have like one tip for couples or business partners in regards to the outsiders?
In business, allow the outside to influence the outside. What I mean by that is, if you are doing business, the people who are outside of your business are oftentimes going to be your loudest champions if you utilize them correctly, i.e. turning lurkers into discount codes, right? What I mean by that, and I'll break it down a little bit more, allowing your outsiders to influence. Like, a hater is going to know everything that you're doing because they're paying the closest attention because they want to find more things to hate on, right? And you got to find a way to actually take that and turn that into something fuel for your business. With business, it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier. With the relationship, not as much. But the one thing that you need to do with the relationship is double down on the trust in your partner. And if you feel like you can't double down on that trust, then you might be gambling in the wrong arena. Right? Like, when it came down to it, at the end of our conversation, I said, would you bet our relationship on that? And you said, I would bet our entire relationship on that. And I was like, all right, I'll see you later then. And that was it. Like, I was legit. I was like, okay, that's it. If you are willing to double down on this statement, then I'm going to double down with you. That was it. And I knew I was in the right casino. And then guess what? Blackjack.
Exactly.
Everybody turned out to be jokers. And the king and queen is still here. Ah, that was fire.
That was lit.
I'm gonna just end it on that
Cancel
one.
that.
I'm gonna just end it on that one. It's the business of love, man. This is for the love of business and the business of love. Did I say it wrong before?
No, you got it right. The love of business.
The business of love.
I thought it was TLOB.
It's the business of love.
Oh my God, TBOL. Yes. Okay. The
edit
acronyms.
Mark.
Acronyms.
Yes, the business of love. Yo, this is how y'all know it's our second show. I don't care. I'm not editing that. Y'all gotta deal with it.
Hey, y'all with us shooting in the gym, so y'all gonna get it all.
But that's it, man. We are out. We hope y'all enjoyed this episode. Thank you for tuning in. To the next one.